The world watched in anticipation, holding their breath as the news unfolded. Former President Donald Trump announced a potential 100% tariff on all goods from BRICS nations, a coalition of emerging economies including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This bold move sent shockwaves through the global economy, raising concerns of a potential trade war that could destabilize markets and economies worldwide. The ramifications of such a policy could be significant, impacting businesses and consumers worldwide. Empty store shelves, rising prices, and closed businesses could become a common sight if this tariff were to be implemented. But what prompted this aggressive stance? Was it a strategic move to gain leverage in international negotiations, or a reaction to perceived economic threats from these nations? And what are the chances of it actually happening? Experts and political analysts are divided, with some seeing it as a real possibility and others dismissing it as mere posturing. To understand the gravity of the situation, we need to first understand the players involved and the motivations driving their actions. The BRICS nations represent a significant portion of the global economy and have been growing in influence. This is not just a story about economic policies, it's a complex narrative involving international relations, economic strategies, and geopolitical maneuvers. It's about global power dynamics, where each move can have far-reaching consequences. The stakes are incredibly high, and the outcomes could reshape the global landscape. The future of the world order hangs in the balance, with potential shifts in alliances and economic power centers, and the potential for conflict on an unprecedented scale looms large as nations navigate this complex and volatile situation. The world watches, waits, and hopes for a resolution that avoids the worst-case scenarios. BRICS is an acronym representing 5 major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These nations have experienced significant economic growth in recent decades and are increasingly asserting their presence on the global stage. They have formed a strategic alliance aimed at challenging the dominance of the US dollar and Western-led financial institutions. The BRICS nations have been actively seeking to reduce their reliance on the US dollar for trade and investment. They are exploring alternative reserve currencies and establishing their own financial institutions, such as the New Development Bank. This move towards greater financial independence is seen by some as a direct threat to the established global economic order. Donald Trump has long been a critic of global trade deals, arguing that they disadvantage American workers and businesses. His America First policy focused on protectionist measures like tariffs, aimed at bringing back manufacturing jobs to the US and reducing the trade deficit. Trump's tariff threat against BRICS can be seen as an extension of this policy, a way to pressure these nations into abandoning their efforts to challenge the US dollar's dominance. It's a high-stakes gamble with potentially significant consequences for both sides. Tariffs are essentially taxes imposed on goods imported from other countries. They make these goods more expensive for consumers, thereby making domestically produced goods more competitive. While tariffs can protect domestic industries, they also have the potential to harm consumers and lead to higher prices. Imagine you're buying a car. If a 25% tariff is imposed on cars imported from Japan, the price of that Japanese car you wanted will go up by 25%. This might lead you to buy an American-made car instead, even if it was initially more expensive. That's the basic idea behind tariffs. Section 5. Impact on American consumers. Higher prices ahead. The potential impact of Trump's proposed tariffs on American consumers is a subject of intense debate. Experts from various fields have weighed in, offering differing perspectives on what the future might hold. Some believe that these tariffs could protect American jobs and industries, while others warn of significant economic repercussions. Some economists argue that it could lead to higher prices for a wide range of goods, from electronics and clothing to automobiles and food. This is because many of these products are either manufactured in or contain components sourced from BRICS nations, which include Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The interconnected nature of global supply chains means that tariffs on imports from these countries could ripple through the economy, affecting the cost of production and ultimately the prices consumers pay. For instance, a smartphone assembled in the US might still rely on parts from China or India, making it more expensive if tariffs are imposed. Imagine your weekly grocery bill going up by 10% or your new smartphone costing $200 more. These increases might seem small at first glance, but they can add up quickly, straining household budgets and reducing disposable income. Families might find themselves cutting back on non-essential purchases or seeking cheaper alternatives. These are just some of the potential consequences of a full-blown trade war with BRICS nations. The uncertainty surrounding these tariffs can also lead to market volatility, affecting investments and retirement savings. Businesses might delay expansion plans or hiring, further impacting the economy. While the exact impact is difficult to predict, there's no doubt that American consumers would feel the pinch. The broader economic implications could be far-reaching, influencing everything from job security to the overall cost of living. As policymakers debate the merits and drawbacks of these tariffs, the average American household remains on edge, bracing for what might come next. Section 6. The Global Implications: Disrupting the World Order. The potential global implications of a trade war between the US and BRICS are far-reaching. It could disrupt global supply chains, lead to retaliatory tariffs from other countries, and undermine the rules-based trading system that has underpinned global economic growth for decades. Such a conflict would also have significant geopolitical ramifications. It could exacerbate existing tensions between the US and China, push Russia closer to China, and create a more divided and unstable world order. The stakes are high, and the consequences of miscalculation could be severe. Section 7. The WTO's role: Can it avert a trade war? The World Trade Organization, or WTO, is an intergovernmental organization that regulates international trade. Established in 1995, it succeeded the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, and has since been a cornerstone in the global economic system. The WTO provides a comprehensive framework for resolving trade disputes between nations, ensuring that conflicts are managed through dialogue and legal mechanisms rather than through retaliatory measures. It plays a crucial role in ensuring fair and predictable trade practices, promoting free trade, and preventing protectionist measures like tariffs. By fostering an environment where trade can flourish, the WTO aims to boost economic growth and development worldwide. In the event of a trade war between the US and BRICS, the WTO would be the primary forum for resolving disputes and mediating between the parties. The organization has a well-established dispute resolution process that includes consultations, panels, and appellate reviews. However, the WTO's effectiveness has been questioned in recent years. Critics argue that the organization has struggled to adapt to the complexities of modern trade, including issues like digital commerce and intellectual property rights. It remains to be seen whether the WTO has the authority and influence to prevent a full-blown trade war between these economic superpowers. The organization's ability to mediate effectively will depend on the willingness of member nations to adhere to its rulings and the strength of its enforcement mechanisms. As global trade dynamics continue to evolve, the WTO's role in maintaining international economic stability will be more critical than ever. Section 8. Conclusion: Uncertain future for global trade. The future of global trade hangs in the balance as the US and BRICS engage in this high-stakes economic standoff. The potential consequences of a trade war are significant, with the potential to disrupt global supply chains, increase prices for consumers, and undermine the rules-based trading system that has underpinned global prosperity for decades. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a peaceful resolution to this conflict. The stakes are high, and the decisions made in the coming months and years will have a profound impact on the global economy and the future of international relations.